if my audio works. Happy New Year, Stephen. How you doing?
Happy New Year to you too. It works now, yep. Been a while.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the people who have entries on the agenda.
Hello.
All right.
Thanks to whoever added me to the agenda. I was going to add myself there. Thank you.
All right, I thought that was you. Well, it's 4 minutes past, so let's get started. Welcome everybody to the February 4th SIG Multicluster call. And up first on the agenda is Ryan.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just to continue what we were left last time. So let me share my screen. So yeah, this is the edited version. I think I addressed pretty much most of the comments. I saw some. The last comment was
Ryan, can you
oh,
zoom
sorry,
in?
can you hear? Yeah, sorry.
Can you zoom in a bit? Well, quite a bit, please.
Is it better now?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So this is kind of the precursor of updating the cap. So far, I think most of, I don't know, there are any high-level questions or things like that. I think I addressed most of them. There are some details I think we can still discuss in the cap as using comments. But now let me recap, right? So basically, for the cluster profile object to be useful, the most important thing, or at least one of the more important part, is the properties, because without any properties, that that object is kind of empty. So we do need some properties there, and for that I'm following the convention of having a core properties, and then I think I added the promotion property ladder, right? So you have standard. Core is everybody needs to implement. For now, only thing I can think of is this one. And standard are the things that we have proper definitions, conformance testing, things like that. But you don't have to implement that. But if you do, there is this conformance, all these things. And then I might, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, just a question about that cluster endpoint value. Pardon me for the ignorance, so that's probably been answered elsewhere, but in my experience at least, find use for two different ways of addressing a cluster. One for use by clients that are already inside the cluster versus used by clients that are outside the cluster.
This is for the outside, not for the inside.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, the property itself is for outside here. So some children asked whether we could add a type of endpoints. It's kind of debatable, because the key is kind of, which I agree. At least in our case, there are. It's not external, internal. It's more like a private or public. Mike, your hand is still up. Do you still have another question, or you're just okay?
Yeah, I agree. This is a good question.
Yeah. So then the question is, how do we express that? Like, for example, like this one most likely is external one, and this one most likely is internal one, because this is probably an internal IP. This is an external a DNS that can be DNS queried. So that's why I put array instead of a single value there. But let me go through this fast. I don't think we could like kind of get to the details of everything today. So let me go back to the ladder. So the ladder is so you have core, and we can discuss whether any of these standard could be core. And next one is location. I think this naming is difficult. I get some suggestions from the community, change it to location. And by the way, those all have their cluster property. Basically, that's the about API. So there is about API, and then this is what the cluster profile API property. We already have that in the cluster profile property field. So this is kind of a copy from that one. So we have location, we have count, node count, basically count on node. We also have, I call it SKU, but maybe it's node. So it's also in the node in the SKU. So it's basically the type of node this cluster have. And for example, here I used basically 3 cloud providers naming convention: GCP, Azure, and EC2 or AWS. We call it. And then there's metrics endpoints. I think someone mentioned. Yeah, this is some suggestion from some community member about whether we could have metrics endpoints, which seems to be useful. This is most likely the Prometheus endpoints. Mike, just let me finish this one. And the last one is also some community member mentioned that it's actually useful to list all the custom resources. For example, whether we want to know this one has Argo CD, basically this is Argo CD, this has backup Vereros, and this is just our cluster profile. Things like that. These are things seems to me useful, and at least, and also from the feedback from some community members, the exact format may definitely we could discuss more, and we probably have more properties that may be useful at current time.
Yeah, I have lots of comments on that. Can you just post somewhere a pointer to that so I can comment offline?
You mean this one? This is in our
This document, yeah.
This document is in our
Meeting notes.
meeting notes.
Thank you.
It's the first
And
one.
I could, yeah, and posted in our Slack channel a few times.
The question I had, and I'm sorry I haven't commented that before. At some point you say, I think it might be for the node count. You say, "Oh, it's updating fast," or like not fast.
Not fast.
Could
None
you
of them
set
are.
expectations with I don't know, like an estimate? And should we have like some freshness indicator, like last update time or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I heard that. Sorry, I heard that comment before. Maybe not in a talk, but I've heard that before. Does that? But how do we?
It may
put
be in
that?
one of the comments somewhere. Sorry, or we talked about it.
Yeah, yeah. It's not the first time. And
in the count, the
yeah,
values that
so
are not fast.
yeah, the freshness of this value. The thing is, there's no more field to add this information. Where do we add this? Again, I totally agree. This is a good.
The general object metadata tracks update times. So
What if
assume the
the
last
properties
update
are
is
updated separately though? Then you would, it's like if front property is updated and not the other, if you have different writers, could that be? I guess it's not recommended to have multiple writers, but I wonder if that could be a.
Sorry, Stefan, what was your where did you say that we can have that freshness information?
just as part of the general
Managed
object
fields.
metadata that you get.
Metadata.managed
all the managed fields. Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, if these properties get copied anywhere else, that it gets lost. For example, I think we want to talk about, the copy, the idea of the remote representation of this, right? So we definitely plan on these things being copied.
Yeah. This is coming. This is on the workload cluster, and the property is going to the cluster profile property is going to be copied to the hub cluster. So, but in the cluster profile API, we didn't reserve an extra field. Maybe we should add one. If that's the case, I could decide. Let me add last updated or last updated.
Yeah,
and even
way.
does that, if that makes sense, I can amend the cap to have that. But even for this one, I don't fully get it. The cluster property doesn't have a status. Where do you get the last updated value?
For cluster
Metadata
property
has.
is not a problem because you have one property per cluster property. So it's what Stefan was saying around using the update time of the object itself, the whole object, right, in the metadata.
But no, the Kubernetes object doesn't have a last update time.
It's not really.
No, it doesn't.
But the metadata, again, the metadata.managed fields does.
Managed field. Oh, each managed field. Does it always have a managed field? If you don't use server-side apply, does it always have this managed field change? If you do a client-side normal apply, does it have it?
Yes, but yes and no. So it happens in, I think, more cases than you expect, but it still doesn't happen in every case. I think the case is for fields that are added by the API server, there's no managed fields. But for fields that are supplied by a client, any client, there is an entry in the managed fields.
Interesting. Yeah, let me see. But one thing for sure, this problem has bothered me for a long time. That Kubernetes object doesn't have a last update, like standard last update time. It has create time, has lead time, but no update time. I don't know why. Yeah, let me. Yeah, that's some very high level thing that seems to be missing from it. At least it was a mystery for me.
Yeah, try making a practice of when you just get -o YAML, include -- show managed fields. If you just do that regularly, you'll get a better feel for what's going on.
I think my client always show managed field. I actually don't like to see them because it's a huge field. But anyway, I'll play with it. Yeah. Good insights. I've never looked into that. cool. Yeah, that's something that I think is useful. Yeah, definitely useful. Any other comments? Just one last thing is eventually this is the interesting one, right? Because I accidentally closed the comment that I don't know how to take it back. So the comment was similar along that line is even with the skew without the number. So we have a total number, we have a skew, but we don't have a per skew number, which sometimes I think that it could be very useful is especially in nowadays, everything, blah, blah, blah. They want a certain H100 GPUs node, but they don't know how many of them. So with this, they at least can say, okay, this is a cluster that has H100, and this doesn't have, right? So I can schedule something there, but if many of the models like inference, they need 8, right? They need 8 or 4, 16 or number things like that. They need to know that if we can fit, we are not getting to the dynamic ones, right? To the point of we know how many are available now, how many are. This is something I think still needs to be solved, but probably not solved. I've asked around like the industrial practice. There are different ways to solve that, but most likely not through this type of static API. But they at least could say that I need a cluster with 10 H100, and given the skew to most of the, actually I looked at all the three, at least the 3 cloud providers, their naming convention doesn't actually have the GPU name there. Not everyone has that. So it would be great to have this explicit ones for user, but this is kind of outside of, it feels like it's hard to get to the standard. So I just put it there for extension. Like Azure, Kubernetes Fleet probably will implement something like that, because we feel like this is something is actually useful. Just put it out there, but anyone can add different things to their own provider. That's about it. So I think next steps is, if there are not too many comments here, I will move this to CAP. We can continue to discuss there, because there the PR comments I feel like probably is better. But let me know if you think that we're not there yet, then we can have a few more rounds of discussion before.
I do have a lot of comments. I don't want to take the whole meeting, so I'll comment offline.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. That's it from me. And I'll do another poll next in the Slack channel to see if whether we have at least some consensus to move this to a CAP amendment, and then we can continue to discuss there, get it a little bit more formal. Any thoughts on that? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine as a turn this into a PR. Thanks. So, Content, it's your turn.
All right. So I updated the name to Hub Cluster following the vote. It got closer at the end. I don't know. People woke up, but it's still Hub Cluster was ahead. So I updated that. I'm sorry I lost all the comments, because obviously I made edits where the comments were, so they all vanished. One couple things that I did. Let me try to find it. One of the things was around visibility. I think that was confusing. I changed it to may have access to the API metrics or workloads. That was I think was the most matching to what I was trying to mean anyway. And the only must I kept really was to have the cluster profiles on it. Otherwise, it's kind of dumb. I added a link for cluster set. I remember that was one of the things someone was asking. I linked to our documentation, our website. I don't know if that's the best thing we have, but worst case, there'll be links from there. And I give some examples what it can be used for, but especially I wanted to give 2 opportunities, like, it can be platform running things for managing cluster type of thing, or like application running features. So it's like to give the opportunity for people to see it as either like platformy things or application-y things. I wanted to make sure we didn't exclude any one of them, especially. I mean, they could be at the same time or different hub clusters. It doesn't matter, but that. I think that's mostly. Oh, and then I added one more rationale around application running and platform running to kind of explain a little bit more what they are. Yeah, that's mostly it. I don't know if there's more questions about it. Otherwise, have a look. See if that makes sense.
Yeah, it looks good to me. By the way, I have one question on general. This file is going to be checked at SIG Multicluster. Oh, where will users see this file? Where do they? It's not a cap, right? So where do they see this?
I think it's at the same. Given it was like a position statement, I kept it. I think in the same spot where.
Is it on the website? Is it on our?
No, it's in this community thing. I think it's where sameness was defined.
Yeah, I believe it's the same spot. It's kind of a weird spot. I have it bookmarked. We might want to reference it from the website.
Sorry, what?
Oh, sorry. I was saying it's kind of a weird spot. We might want to reference it from the website.
So are you saying like I would merge this and then have it on the website or just the website? Wait.
Where is that namespace sameness position statement? Is
So
it only
here.
sitting here? I know here,
Yeah.
but on our website,
There is one. There's an equivalent on the website. So
is it exactly the same, or it's a paraphrase?
I'm not actually sure. Let's see. SIG MC SIG Multicluster. I don't even know if we have sameness in there.
There's somewhere. I've seen it somewhere.
There's 2 lines.
Yeah, so it's
We
not.
should probably
well,
link
this
it
is
back
not-
to the other one at least.
Yeah. So should we like move that longer version here or what?
So yeah, I don't know what the right thing is. I mean, definitely the website should have more and at least link to the long file to the definition.
I mean, I think it would be good to have the whole thing here. It's 2 different discovery paths, right? There's
Right.
definitely an
But
audience
can we
who is
link
going
it
to
and people
discover
just
through.
follow? I don't know if there's a way
Yeah,
to avoid 2 sources of truth. I guess.
just take take the gist and link, sure, or compile it in.
Merge and add link from website. Namespace in this position 7 is in, but it is a weird spot. Oh, we need a link here too. Yeah. So that, I mean, I don't know if we have that many places. We may have also like the KEP folder for SIGMC, and we have those positions, and we have the website. So maybe it's something we need to address.
Yeah, to follow my question. So if we are moving the sameness to our website, should we also move what you that statement somewhere at least visible from the website?
If we do, that would be the thing. I was just worried, like, is the website the authoritative place? And maybe we declare it to be, but I just want to make sure that.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I suspect from a process perspective, the community repo is authoritative and the website is
Reflective.
yeah, I'm not sure. But the
So,
website
well,
needs
we
a
can
fair
do
amount
an
of work
emergent
anyway.
community. Let's keep community, and I'll update the website afterwards,
Yeah.
and I'll update for sameness. I'll take those action items once those things are merged.
Thanks.
Mike, you wanted to say something at some point. I don't know. You can go for it.
No, I don't really.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Please have another look. That's all I can ask for, honestly. Yeah, Stefan, I think it's for you now.
Yep, it is. So the MCS API repo had a release quite a long time ago, 2021. And I was wondering, well, I was thinking it would be useful to prepare a new release, because there's a bunch of changes that have been made to the repo that are hard to consume as a result. Well, you have to consume them using a commit hash instead of a nice release tag. So if you're interested in the MCS API repo, maybe take a look at it, see if there's anything that you think should be changed. And my goal here is to have a release before we do the V1 Alpha 2 or V1 Beta 1 updates, so that consumers can update without having to change things due to V1 Alpha 2 or whatever.
That's
And
good.
I also did a bunch of reorganizing so that the MCS API itself can be imported with a reduced set of dependencies. It's not as small as it could be, because client goes still brings in a ton of stuff, but the tools were separated out quite a while back, but I've split out the demo, the controllers, and the conformance tests. So they're their own modules.
Yeah, that was good. Thanks. So, yeah, I see currently, I mean, the only version of the API that release tag is 0.1.0.
Yeah, 0.10.
So you envision a 0.1.1.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then that would be good.
Well, there is a precise technical meaning to the choice of version numbers, right? If we go with semver, which we ought to. So
Yeah.
if this is, a bug fix, it's 0.1.1. If it's progress that's backward compatible, well, the 0. Throws all the rules out the window. But if you want to kind of be conventional, right, 0.2 would be for backward compatible improvements or bigger changes,
Yeah.
since it's 0.
But there haven't been any significant changes to the API itself. So
No, I think the main thing was the instead of defining, at least in the Go code, the service export condition, I used it was changed to use meta v1 condition.
right, yeah,
but that
that's
doesn't
right.
change
Yeah.
the serial length. Yeah, so there's nothing, there shouldn't be any breakage there. I think some constants were added or something like that. So, but it'd be nice to get those, the meta v1 condition, so you can get so that consumers can use the utilities that are defined in some meta v1.
Yeah, Tom, your
Yeah,
voice
we
is
can
very faint.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me better?
Slightly.
A little bit. Sorry, I don't know why. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I would 0.2.0 would be fine there.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take care of that.
Okay, right.
And yeah, we've got some time. I wondered, Mike Morris, since you're around, you've got an item on the backlog around the port conflict rules.
Oh God, I haven't looked at this in months.
Or we can just finish
Yeah,
early.
Yeah, we can. I haven't looked at it, but I do want to start to put more time on the V1 Alpha 2 change on the MCS. Now the MCS, if we haven't released, then yeah, I think it's a good time to start V1 Alpha 2. I mean, not start. I mean, move forward with V1 Alpha 2. I think there are
Just for
lots of
more momentum, yeah. Yeah, I had some internal stuff that was taking precedence, and I've cleared most of that off my plate within the past week. So yeah, I think it's a really good plan to try to get out a release with basically the existing clarifications and minor work that we've done over the past couple of years, and just like get that as a stable kind of checkpoint. And then start planning for that like fast follow of actually getting in the V1 Alpha 2 changes that we want to see.
Yeah. Okay, sounds like a plan.
And plus one to comment in chat about coordinating with Arthur, who's done a massive amount of work to move this forward in the past couple months.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, well, does anybody else have anything they want to bring up?
Oh, okay. I do see this. I'm just looking back into this thing again. It's we use the word union in the spec where it should probably actually be intersection.
Yeah, I wondered about
Yeah.
that too. So,
Yeah, I think the action item here is if anyone on the call who's interested in this wants to take a closer look at the links, and potentially follow up about if this is the change that we want to make for either this release that you're planning to tag imminently, or V1 Alpha 2, if it's something that could be interpreted as breaking potentially.
yeah, because it would. Yeah, well, it's probably best to settle it before we do a release, because the next release would be the first one with the conformance test.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so call to action would appreciate other eyes on this. I think the proposal is to change the word union to intersection to better reflect the intended behavior. Because there's some weird circumstances that could crop up. If you're exposing ports on a service import that may be routed to a backend where those don't exist.
Yeah, or point to something completely different.
Yep. For the general purpose use case where your backends are actually the same, it should be somewhat irrelevant. It's really just for the weird edge case.
Yeah, the cases where union and intersection are different, in actual use. Okay. All right, so that's a call to action for any interested parties. I'll ping Arthur, because he'd probably be interested for the Cilium implementation. Okay, and on that, I'll call it a day. Going once. Going twice. Have a good rest of the day, and see you in 2 weeks' time.
See you all.
Thanks. Take care, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.